guys, welcome to a new video. And what? Yeah. This video is about copics. I had to it was quite a long video. It was over 20 minutes or more, I think, and I decided to break it into two parts because that way, I don't know, it would be less boring for you guys. And it's really cold. I have allergies. So yeah, this is about my copics, all the swatches that all the copics I own, and I hope you enjoy it. Be aware that I will ramble a lot, and just remember that my English is not entirely good, but hopefully you guys understand that it's not as boring as I thought it would be. So yeah, thank you. Hi guys, welcome to a new video, and this is a video about copics. Sorry about my nails, I just I just cut my nails from this hand because I'm trying to play the uke, so these hands are free to be as long as they want. Anyway, this video is about color swatches of my copics, all the copics I own. First of all, these are not entirely all mine. My boyfriend also owns these copics. We split, or we share the copics, we bought them together. And yeah, he's way more talented than me in copics. I think I'm more into watercolors, or at least a little bit better. But for example, the copics, I mostly use them when I'm doing my art journal and stuff, because it is really easy to color and, I don't know, to do some very quick art for me. And I really wouldn't want to do art journal making with watercolor. It would be a little bit annoying and I would take a long time. And if you do just colored pencils, it would be, I don't know, I feel like the markers are great because they have this speed feature about them, and they also have great colors, especially the Copic ones. So yes, and I'm going to show you swatches of the colors I own. We're going to start by the earth tones. I have this small chart here already made because it's easier for me. And for example, I started with the very dark tones, and then I added the mid-tones and the more light tones. And also I want to say that, for example, these three tones are very much alike. And if you want to start buying Copic colors, well, if you want to start buying Copic colors, I would suggest that first you start with very light tones and maybe a few dark colors, very few. And for example, if I knew these colors would be very much alike, I wouldn't have bought them. I would at least just buy one, and that would be all. So if you have the chance, just select one of these. They look very alike. I'm going to close up this. There. If you can see, this is a little bit more toned down. This is a little bit darker, and this is more in a reddish tone. But even the three of them together, they look pretty much the same. Now, moving to the other tones, I'm going to make an extra video about the tones you should buy for characters or skin tones, because something you should really buy is skin tones. But I think I'm going to do an extra video about it, because there are a lot of skin tones and it's not just earth tones. And moving on with this one, as you can see, the tones, for example, this is a E71, and if the color of copics would make sense if the darker tones were the, I don't know, with the higher value, but apparently not. And yeah, so you should do based on the copic chart, but it's not entirely true. For example, these colors I had in mind of buying, they, in the color chart, they were a much lighter than they looked. So yes, for example, these other tones, the E13 and E33, they look a little bit the same. This looks a little bit more reddish, and this a little bit like in a more yellow side, but they do look a little bit, well, the same. And if you're doing a very finished piece, if you're coloring maybe with these two tones, they would look a little bit exactly the same, especially if you are scanning your artwork. The artwork, when it's scanned, it changes a lot in color. So yeah, just pick one and you'll be done with it. This is a more, this looks a little bit more red, and this tends to be more gray. So don't entirely expect that all the earth tones look like browns. They are not all browns. So yes, for example, this is a little bit more pink, these are like a little bit pink. And for example, this E50, I don't recommend as a skin tone, but it is pretty much alike like a pink one that I already have one, that I already own. So yeah, colors tend to repeat sometimes. Now moving on to the RBs and the Rs. Okay, I darken a little bit the image because the tones wouldn't just come up. And yeah, for example, I am starting also here with the dark tones and ended up with the more light, very light tones. Yes, as far as I know, there are copy colors that are fluorescent, and this is not the one that is fluorescent, but it looks a lot fluorescent, that it looks like a Sharpie that I own. Also, I wouldn't recommend to buy the very dark tones, because if you're on a budget, you want to buy colors that you are going to use. And I think this could be duped with Sharpie tones. They are cheap, they are very easy to use, and I don't know, I like Sharpies. Now in the art section, this is also, I forgot to mention that this RB, I think it stands for red violet, so it tends to be a little bit more, yeah, in the violet side. This is, for example, a very violet one. But in here are the Rs, and I really like this selection that I have. I think it is very accurate. I don't think I would buy any more reds. This is, for example, the darkest one, and I am very comfortable with it. I think if I wanted a really dark tone, this is a good selection. A very dark tone, a slightly dark tone, and this is like a traditional red. I think it is more a magenta. These are a little bit more alike, but this is a lot more magenta than this one is. This is like a traditional red, this is more into the orange side, and this is a coral. I really love this kind of coral tone. And here are the pinks. This is the E000 and R00, and for me, maybe the lens, they look a little bit different, but here in real life they look very much the same. So in that case, you should buy just one. There is no need for buy the E000 and R00. These are things that when you start buying Copics, you will notice that the colors repeat.